Question 6. So we've got to factorize fully. Now factorizing means we have to pop the brackets in, and fully is just reminding us that we're going to be taking more than one bit out of the bracket. So it's going to be a number and a letter, or a number and a couple of letters. Now we've only got a couple of terms here, so we're just going to be having a single bracket. So here's our single bracket. Now what's the most we can take out of the bracket? What's the highest common factor of 18 and 45? What's the biggest number that goes into both 18 and 45? Well, that's 9. What's the highest common factor of e cubed and e squared? What's the greatest number of e's that go into both? Well, that's e squared. And what's the highest common factor of f and f to the power of 4? Well, that's just a single f. So we can take all of that out of the bracket. We have to take all of that out of the bracket to factorize it fully. So then you open up your bracket and you just pop in your bracket what you need to, so when you expand, so when you do your 2 clause, you end up back to where we started. So 9 times what is going to give us 18? Well, that's 2. E squared times what is going to give us e cubed? Well, that's e. And f is already there, and we need a single f, so that's all we need in the first term. So just be clear, that times that gives us that. We then move on to the second term, so get the sign right, we need a plus and a plus. 9 times what gives us 45, well, that's 5. E squared times what gives us e squared? Well, we're already there. And then f times what gives us f to the power of 4? Well, that's f cubed. And again, be clear in your mind that this times this second term here is what gives us this. So quite hard to do, but very easy to check your answer. You just expand and make sure you get back to where you started. Now for part B, you've really got to keep your wits about you here. Lots of you were in the mock, were like adding 12 to both sides, then factorizing the first 2 terms. It was horrible, so avoid that. You've got to appreciate that this is a quadratic equation on our left. We've got some x squared, some x's, and a number equaling naught. So we've got a number of ways of solving a quadratic equation. It may be that we can factorize like we can do here, or if not, you might have to resort to the formula or completing the square. But this will factorize. If it's early on in the paper and there's no indication that it's going to go into decimals with telling you how many decimal places, etc., it will probably factorize. So remember the process for this. We need a pair of brackets. As we've got an x squared here, we just need an x and an x to start off the brackets, because x times x will give us our x squared. So all that's left is for us to find these 2 magic numbers here. So what 2 magic numbers multiply to make the term on the end, the minus 12, yet at the same time these 2 magic numbers, when you add them together, you get the coefficient of x. You get the number in front of the x, which is minus 4. So which 2 numbers multiply to make minus 12 but add to be minus 4? So focus on the 12. How can we get the 12? Fiddle around with the signs and we end up with 2 and minus 6. Because 2 times minus 6 is minus 12, yet 2 take away 6 is minus 4. So those are the 2 magic numbers that go into the brackets. So once we factorize the left hand side, we have x plus 2, x minus 6 equals 0. It would have been fine if you just written these brackets the other way around, x minus 6, x plus 2, but you must of course get the signs the right way around, a plus 2 and a minus 6. So from that we can solve, because we're saying what times what equals 0. How do we make this first term 0? Well, x is to be minus 2, because once x is minus 2 here, this bracket becomes 0, and 0 lots of whatever are 0. Similarly, what makes this second bracket 0? Well, that's x being 6, because 6 take away 6 is 0, 6 lots of whatever is 0. So in short, your final solutions are your magic numbers with the signs reversed.